Priority. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot by professional players, casters, and high elo players. But what does it really mean? When I'm working with a student one-on-one, I usually ask them this question. But it's become very apparent to me that even people in high diamond sometimes have no idea why it's important or what I'm even talking about. Today we're going to break down some of the common misconceptions and talk about what priority really means. To do this, let's look at the Kespa Cup and break down Gen G versus Griffin. In any champ select, you want to analyze all of your lanes and see how you think they'll go. Obviously, on paper, things turn out differently than in reality. We always want to start from some baseline. Ask yourself, what do you think this team comp is trying to accomplish by Griffin? What are their early game goals and objectives? How do you think the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game should play out? Pause the video and unpause when you've come to an answer. When I'm analyzing Griffin's team comp here, I see a self-sufficient top laner that wants to scale and farm and can freeze the wave in front of his tower for most of the game. Victor probably won't and most likely doesn't want to have priority for the early parts of the game. Let's define that. Priority is essentially whoever has the first move. If both laners wanted to leave the lane and participate in a fight or help someone elsewhere, who would get there first? Whoever gets there first has priority. A common misconception about this is that you always want to maintain priority. This is definitely not the case. Shoving your lane is the easiest way to free yourself up to help move around the map. But this also means that you're setting yourself up to be susceptible to more ganks. You only need to get priority when your team needs it from you. Common scenarios include when your jungler is counter jungling, taking Scuttle Crab, wanting to contest a neutral objective, or even being invaded. And for junglers, invading without your laners being able to get priority is one of the worst things you can do. This is why playing around your strong lanes in solo queue is a common tactic. If your mid and bot lane are extremely strong, you're more able to invade the enemy Raptors, Red, and Krugs from red side than you'd be able to invade the blue buff or the Gromp. In this game, Sion as well as Cassiopeia and Thresh should have shove on their opposing lanes. Because of this, Kha'Zix formulates a game plan for the early game. He knows that Victor is likely to get shoved in and not able to help him if he plays around top side. So he starts top and passes towards bottom. He takes all 3 camps in his top side and takes an early reset to stop Nocturne from using any of his top side advantage to counter jungle. This frees up Victor to play safe for the entire early game. He's not needed by Kha'Zix to contest anything in his top side, so he can play the lane exactly how he wants to. He buys a pink and immediately places it bot side to start controlling bot side vision. This team comp in particular is especially good for taking early game dragons. Kha'Zix has extremely fast objective damage, as well as having 2 pushing lanes in mid and bot. From draft, this was their game plan. The whole team had an idea of what they wanted to do, and they try to execute. As predicted, Nocturne tries to invade Kha'Zix's topside after getting done with his camps, but finds nothing there. Even after getting a pick on the opposing Ezreal and shoving the wave all the way in, Cassiopeia still TPs back to lane. Why is this? It's all to maintain priority to continue working towards the early game plan of securing an early dragon. She buys a pink and immediately places it bot as well, continuing to control bot side vision. If she were to walk to lane, Ezreal and Tahm Kench would have a chance to shove the wave back and walk into river to clear vision uncontested. The split second of Ezreal and Tahm regaining priority could put some holes in Griffin's game plan. Knowing this, Cassio TPs to stop any possibility of this happening. This is a perfect example of maintaining priority when it's needed. If this dragon wasn't spawning, Cassio wouldn't need to expend this teleport and could save it for a later time. She isn't TPing to get a creep wave or any sort of personal gain. She's only maintaining priority, and that's why this is so important to point out. The need to contest early game dragons and get priority is what spurred the start of the teleport meta bot lane. Watch how Tahm and Ezreal are never able to regain river vision after this point, and how it leads into an early game dragon for Kha'Zix. Griffin worked together to secure objective control on this first dragon. One of the biggest takeaways from this is to see how much setup went into taking this dragon. Griffin spent several minutes placing pinks and denying Gen G any vision or even entry into the area. This is how dragons, Rift Heralds, and Barons should be set up. Information is the most important part of League of Legends, and denying the enemy vision means you take away their ability to make an informed decision. When I coach players that are diamond and below, I notice one of the biggest struggles is how to use an objective to bait a fight. Setting up and controlling vision around an objective forces the enemy to choose between 2 bad decisions. The first is to not contest the objective at all. You see this in this example game. Griffin gets away with the dragon completely for free. Now translate that to getting a Baron for free or an Elder Dragon for free. Imagine how important it seems now. The second option for Gen G is to try to walk into the area with 0 information. They would have no idea if Griffin was actually doing the objective or just setting up a trap inside one of the bushes. Without proper vision control, this early game probably doesn't go as smooth for Griffin. This video should have given you a good idea on how to use your priority to set up an objective. This can be applied to any of the things we talked about before, such as Scuttle Crab, as well as camps. Junglers and laners alike need to understand the concept of priority to avoid frustrating each other. Junglers should path in accordance to what lanes they think will have priority. And laners, if you see your jungler pathing towards an objective close to you, try to shove your lane as best as you can to help him. As always, adjusting to each situation is paramount to improving and helping your chance of winning. Things don't always go as planned, and you shouldn't be frustrated if you expect a lane to have priority and they don't. Evolve and adapt. This has been a crash course on objective control and priority. Now that you have an increased understanding of how to set up and get an objective, next time we're going to look at what you should do after you get Baron. My name is Japanese Import, and I'll see you all in the next video.